Hello, everybody, and welcome to our stream. My name is Yulia Stadnichuk. I'm the official spokesperson for the International Public Movements Politics 2.0. I'm based in Moscow, and the movement appeared in Moscow, started its activities in Moscow. And we, in our streams, view all the political issues from the point of view of Politics 2.0 concept, which implies that every single citizen is supposed to have a right to take part in conduct of public affairs directly, which is totally in line with the vast majority of the constitutions of the world, with the covenants of the international covenants on the public, civil and public rights, and with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So we normally regard the situation in Russia, and you probably know that today is the election day, and though they've introduced this kind of 3 days elections, which is a total innovation that we haven't seen this before, still today is the main day of elections, and today the elections we are electing the deputies for the state parliament, which is in Russia called Duma. So unfortunately, the situation actually looks like everybody knows what is going to happen. There is no secret. And it's quite depressing to know that they've been quite open. I mean, those who control the media, who control the political life, they've been quite open and honest that they are controlling this political life. So there is no actually opposition in Russia. There are no parties, there are no candidates registered for the elections who haven't been approved by the Kremlin administration. So this is Kremlin administration, which actually kind of orchestrates this process of the elections. All the parties, all the candidates never contradict the general ideology which is implemented in Russia. They only present some kind of tactical ideas which may be slightly different from what the ruling administration implements at the moment. We actually have this kind of United Russia Party. It's called in Russia Единая Россия, which is actually not a party because they have no ideology. They present some kind of Masonic lodge for the officials, for those who work for the state, on the state positions, and in all the regions. And we have other parties, some of which do look like a party, like Communist Party of Russia. They do look like a party because they have some ideological backgrounds and they have their offices all over the country. But we know, and it's obvious, and we are ready to prove this, they work totally in line with the Kremlin administration and never go against the ideas presented by the administration. Actually, the idea that Communist Party united its efforts with Russian oligarch Grudinin, actually his mother's surname is Pisik, it proves that the communists are not communists at all, because since they unite their effort with an oligarch, with businessmen, they cannot be called proper communists. The other parties, the so-called democratic parties, they either have no influence and are not likely to gain enough support to do anything, or they just do not even pretend to be like taking part. So they are just selling these deputy positions, and this is kind of a political business in Russia, that political parties take money for providing this deputy position for some person, and once a person becomes a deputy of a state parliament, it gets immunity from all kind of criminal persecution, and thus he can just get away with some crimes which rich people are likely to have in Russia. There is another party quite new, which is called Новые люди, New People. It never goes against the official ideology and official ideas presented by President Putin. Actually, they refer to his ideas, and they say that they think that this is something that should be done. So they may be called New People, Новые люди, But they are new people for Putin, not generally speaking new people. And if you will look at their candidates, at the names of the candidates they are presenting all over Russia, these are the candidates who previously enjoyed support from United Russia Party. So they are maybe new people, but they are new people for Putin, not new people for the country. Another party, new party, so it's kind of not new, but it has a new name. A party called Russian Party for Freedom and Justice. In Russia, they have this abbreviation of RPSS. This is a party which has been openly created by the Masonic Lodge of Russia. It's the founder of this party is the head of the Russian Grand Masonic Lodge. So this is not quite a party for the people. That's the party for the masonry, and they are promoting this agenda of work labor migrants, which is a kind of conflict issue for Russia because they commit a lot of crimes, including crimes against our churches. It's quite known that they are in charge for these serious crimes, for the vast majority of the investigated serious crimes in Russia. So this is also a party which is not for the Russian nation, but which is likely to be for the new ideas presented by the administration, because the administration of the country, this Putin, Kremlin administration, all these people, the governments, they're interested in inviting more migrants and not supporting the level of life and the welfare of the local people, of the residents of the country. It has, this issue has quite a long history, and this history is really tragic. So that's what the situation looks like. At the same time, we have to remember that if you are not going for election from a party, if you're not a party candidate, party supported candidate, but if you go by yourself, and if you try to run for the elections by yourself, then you have to collect so many signatures from the people, from the voters of your this territory, that it makes it totally impossible. In case you cannot, in case you do not have administrative and financial support, and financial support should be really serious, but the administrative support is even more important. You cannot move anywhere. You cannot be registered as a candidate. And we at the same time have a couple of candidates registered like independently, not without any party support. But we have to state from what we know that they are likely to enjoy very serious support from the administration and the election committees, local election committees, because they were not likely to get enough signatures from the voters, because they're not the people supported by the voters. But still, they take part in the elections, and we're seeing right now from the figures of the past 2 days that they have kind of, not that they have, but they report that these candidates have a lot of support. Что? Ну, Лизочка, не мешай, пожалуйста. So, unfortunately, we now, and we know this because we took part in the elections, so in our movements, and we know what it's like. We know what it's like to get these voter signatures, what it's like to get this support, to make all the documents done, to get all the documents checked. So we totally know that it's impossible to be registered for as a candidate for the elections, for the Duma elections, in case you do not enjoy this administrative support. So the figures that they've announced after the first 2 days of elections, they are not official figures because the votes haven't been counted properly yet. But still, the figures look like what we expected, that Единая Россия is likely to win, and it's most likely to get, very serious victory. Like maybe 60 or 70%, not because people do support this united Russia, but because they organize the situation this way, because they settle everything. There is another thing that we've been watching this for quite a long time, that all the parties, again, we have to mention that a party cannot exist without administrative support. In case the state, the Kremlin administration wants a party to kind of disappear, it makes it disappear. So, in case a party wants to kind of not that wants to, but in case, no, not in case, sorry. We've been watching the situation when all the parties, especially the Communist Party of Russia, were really trying hard to lose all kinds of supports. They were trying to break these supports, these electoral supports, and to push away the voters, to make this solid, because it was likely that people really disappointed, really unhappy, and really finding unfair what is going on in Russia right now, we're going to support something which would oppose the current administration and the current regime. And the logic opposition to the current regime, logical opposition, is like a communist regime. Like it looks logical from the capitalism to move back to communism. So that is why actually the Communist Party took great effort to push away the voters, to make young and kind of, nice and smart, and those candidates who were supported by local people go away from this party, and to break the support so that they wouldn't have the majority of votes. They wouldn't have a kind of even some kind of serious number of voters supporting them, not to make a true opposition to this United Russia party. So what it led to, and what we were expecting, and what was likely to be happening, that all those who are supporting United Russia are going to elections because they have to, and they're voting for United Russia. There's another point why they're going, not just because they are forced to, but because they know in case the United Russia doesn't get the majority of votes, they will lose their jobs and they will lose their salaries. And that is why, not being idiots, they are voting for the party, even if they do not support what this party is doing. They do not like Putin. They maybe like whatever they want. They maybe want to go back to the Soviet Union, but they still support because they know if they do not support the United Russia Party, they will lose their salaries, they will lose their positions, and they will not find any other jobs. So that is why they go and they vote for this United Russia, securing the first place for this party. And those who do not want to support United Russia, they just kind of look around and look at the other candidates and other parties and say that they do not want to vote for anybody, and they just are not going to the polling stations. And that is why we believe it's likely that the victory of the United Russia at these elections will be really impressive, kind of striking. It's not because people like United Russia, but because it's orchestrated that way. So for us, for the public movements politics 2.0, because we know what is happening, because we know what they are going to do with Russia, and we know that they're going to destroy Russia as a country we know and we love. They want to destroy this country. They want to destroy its sovereignty, and that is what Putin is doing. And actually, President Putin, according to the Russian constitution, he is supposed to be the guarantor of the constitution, which means he is supposed to protect this main law. And it's been a third time when Putin is citing quoting the constitution incorrectly. There is the third article of the constitution, which says that the only source of power in Russia is the nation, the multinational nation of Russia. And Vladimir Putin, for the third time, it was right before the start of the elections, so on September the 16th, and this record it's available on the internet, he said that the people of Russia is the main source of power, which is definitely a reason for us to apply a claim against these activities. And actually, we make this kind of an aim for our activities to make him brought to court. But actually, this proves that what they are doing, what he is doing, what the Kremlin administration is doing, what this regime is doing, they are destroying our rights, our freedoms. They are destroying this constitutional regime that we have. They are creating some other regime, which makes us, the people, not the only source of power, thus destroying the democracy in our country. And knowing this, and we know this, and we've been expecting that he's doing this because he's been doing this since the beginning of the 2020 year, the year of 2020. We kept our ballot papers. We've collected them from the polling stations, and we have them with us as a proof that we are not taking part in these. So here are my 2 ballot papers collected at the polling station. We are correct with these marks. So we've kept the ballot papers as a proof, as an evidence, as a proof, as a hardcore proof, that we are not voting, we are not delegating our power to this parliament, and we keep the right to execute our power directly. We are not sure what the life in Russia will look like right after the elections, but it's likely that it's going to be really tough. But still, we are keeping our ballot papers, which proves we are free citizens. And since we've kept our ballot papers at the elections of the president, not delegating our power to Putin, we kept our ballot papers today. It makes us, really free citizens of our country, of the Russian Federation, and we will fight for our freedom, and we will keep on fighting for our country, for the sovereignty of our country, for the total integrity of our country. But unfortunately, as we know, that the vast majority of people are, either not going to elections, allowing them to do whatever they want, or they're the electoral committees, or they are going to elections and voting. There are some other ideas like destroy your ballot papers or like kind of damage it or something. But destroying or damaging a ballot paper is misdemeanor, is a kind, not a misdemeanor, but it's a kind of violation of law. Actually, it's administrative violation. So you're not allowed to do this, even if nobody catches you. This anyway, this remains a violation. But we keep our ballot papers as a proof that we are not delegating our authority, and we keep our freedom and our rights and our status of free citizens to ourselves. So this is a short overview of the situation before the elections, and we do expect the United Russia Party to win these elections, like with kind of 60, 70, or maybe 80%. We'll see. Anyway, even if other candidates get more votes, and finally they end up, United Russia having 30% or 40. Anyway, we as the voters have no control over the deputies. Once we elect them, we have no control over what they're doing, what kind of decisions they're implementing, and that is the violation of the basic constitutional rule, that we are the source of power, and we are the ones, we the nation, are the ones who execute our authority directly or via the state bodies. And the State Duma, the parliament, is one of the state bodies, the legislature. So that's what the situation looks like from now. If you have any questions, please write them down. It's been quite a while since our last stream. I guess we'll be streaming further on with our news if anything is happening. And we are probably to face some problems with at the courts further on. We'll be streaming as well. The main streams are happening in our